What's up guys, Cirrus here, and today we're going to be starting with fan art as usual. This first one is a more chibi of my avatar from Missy Mia. This next one is an oddly feminine one from me from Dynacation that looks awesome. And speaking of oddly feminine avatars, there's this one from Chichinus. And now that I have really confused feelings in my pants, we should probably go ahead and point out the other elephant in the room, my new avatar. This is the first of two avatars that I'm going to be using, and this one was provided by Gaelic Knox. She's also the one who did my animated intro, and I'm going to have her information listed down below in the description. She does commission work, and if you guys can support her, that would be incredibly awesome because she's been providing this stuff for the channel. So please, please, please go check out her stuff. And finally, wait, what? Who's that over there? Oh, hey, it's Jim from Atheist Edge. How are you doing?
Oh, hey, Cirrus.
Well, I do have a question. How in the hell did you get into my video? This is kind of a 2D space, and you're a bit 3D.
What?
I mean, no portals? No quantum particle nonsense like Prophet of Zod? No spaceship? I mean, when Steve came here, he was a 2D floating head.
Nah, man. No floating head today.
Oh. Well then, let's just go ahead and roll the intro and just pretend that this is normal. So, the first question, I guess, is, Jim, why so melancholy? I mean, you've got an awesome channel, and you're magically appearing on mine. I assume this is also going to be on your channel eventually. So again, why so melancholy?
Well, you know, for the last 2 years, we over at Atheist Edge, you know, we live by a motto: you build bridges, you have fun, you find common ground. I just don't feel like we've made any headway, though, at all. In fact, I think things have gotten a little bit worse. Maybe quite a bit worse. I guess this current political climate has a lot to do with it, but I can personally trace this schism back to way earlier, as early as July of 2011. And the reason I'm being so specific about that time frame, I could go into some detail, but I won't bore you. The point is, we atheists are now more divided and polarized than ever. I don't know what to do.
I mean, I guess, but we've got a pretty good group of atheists on here right now who are all pretty friendly with one another these days and are even cordial with other theists.
Yeah, that's true. But, okay, look at it this way. Let me give you an example. Anita Sarkeesian and Sargon of Akkad.
Oh, you mean from back then? The dark times. How is that relevant now, though?
Well, the point is, I mean, if I were just to mention those two names in public, odds are most of my viewers, most of your viewers would automatically begin forming an opinion, taking sides, having an emotional reaction maybe, and even building up walls against opposing viewpoints in advance. And that's before I even begin to talk about the incident that happened at the VidCon between those two. Again, I could go into some detail about that too, but I'm not gonna unload a shitload of incidents like that. I'll spare you the infamous Atheist Edge tangents that we're known for.
Having a group of individuals be individually shitty to one another doesn't really say a whole lot for the group on the whole. I mean, we normally just call those people trolls, and sometimes people troll each other. It does get out of hand.
Look, dude, I get you, but you know, I'm not naive. I'm well aware that there have been trolls for as long as there has been an internet. I'm not talking about trolls in particular. I'm talking about atheists who normally use logic and reason to dictate the responses. But until the last, I don't know, it's been happening for at least a decade. Until the last decade or so, civil discourse between us was the norm. But just in the last few years, it seems like all you have to do is mention something like that elevator gate incident in 2011, or something more recent like the Count Dankula thing, the Nazi salute incident. I mean, you just bring these up. Otherwise, rational atheists automatically start hurling insults at each other, and they call each other like really pejorative terms that are pejorative and not productive at all. They do nothing to further the conversation. They'll call each other beta, or shitlord, or cuck, or rape apologist, snowflake, fedora wearing, incel, feminazi, fascist, bigot, what else? Libtard, homophobe, trans-trender. I always thought that one was alt-right wingnut, professional victim, misogynist. Of course, social justice warrior is a pejorative in itself. A social justice advocate would be, something maybe you could use that's not, that can further a conversation. Intolerant, misandrist, virtue signaler, neo-Nazi.
Okay, Jim. I get it, dude. You made your point. You don't have to use every pejorative under the sun. I'm pretty sure that most of my audience knows what they are. We are on the internet. None of these are new.
Sorry, man. Almost went on some tangents. All right. But yeah, I mean, I don't know, Cyrus. What's the solution, brother?
I mean, okay, so figuring out what the root problem is in general helps. Like, okay, why are you on YouTube? Are you here just to show everybody that you're right? That you're smarter than them? Imagine if every content creator acted that way. It would be impossible to have any beneficial discourse. I mean, look at the conversation that happened between Sargon and Richard Carrier at MythCon. Sargon went in with an axe to grind and ultimately ended up having to apologize for doing so. Sometimes having those conversations with an agenda is fine, but if you do that all the time, we get into a lot of scenarios like what happened with that conversation. Strangely, we often find out when we have conversations with people we disagree with, there's usually a lot of things we have in common. And sometimes we even have goals in common. But when we isolate ourselves into echo chambers, we have a tendency to lose that. If you're an atheist who only talks with a bunch of people who think theism is some kind of mental illness, even another atheist might seem like they're part of the out-group simply because they disagree with you. The solution, I think, is being able to have open conversation, and maybe a little compromise. For instance, you're a vegetarian. I'm not. Can we still get along? Of course, even though we disagree. Avoiding the comfortable groupthink gathering around any one personality is sometimes kind of hard, but it's probably necessary in order to avoid the schisms that plague practically any community, not just the atheist one.
That's some great points there, Chris. I've also been keeping a running list of lessons learned in the 2 years that I've been doing Atheist Edge, and there's a few that apply to this topic, if I can go ahead and name them off.
Oh, well, by all means.
Well, first thing is you got to have alligator skin and know how to identify trolls from people who are just emotionally attached to an issue. All right? So both are going to call you names. You have to identify those trolls. Their whole goal in life is to get you upset. You got to disengage from them immediately. All right? No one's expecting you to engage with those folks. Our position at Atheist Edge is to not block, ban, censor, even trolls. And we are a pure marketplace of ideas. Now, that makes things really difficult, and needless to say, we do a lot of ignoring. That's just how we like 100% pure marketplace of ideas. We just let the trolls, we just let that roll off our back like water on a duck's back. In the course of a discussion, though, whether it's online or in real life, you will encounter people that aren't trolling, but they're name-calling, they're yelling, they're letting emotions cloud their reason and judgment. What you should do there, and this is just my opinion, you do what you want, I'm just trying to fix this community. In those cases, just disengage from the conversation and say, hey, let's put this on hold, let's table this until we can just, we're kind of emotionally committed to this. Let's just calm down a while and revisit it later. But what you can't do, and I see a lot of you, my fellow atheists doing it, you can't unfriend them, you can't block them, you can't talk shit about them behind their back. Anyone who you know is not a troll, you normally have good relations with them, people are going to vehemently disagree with you. I know, I can hear you talking through the screen right now saying, yeah, right, Jim. Try telling that to my out-of-control blood pressure or my insomnia or my slowly degrading mental condition. I get you. I really do. I know it's tough. Please trust me on this one. You'll get used to it. You'll get used to... Don't block them. If you create an echo chamber for yourself, it's even more harmful in the long run. All right, quick story. I've been attending a monthly meeting for I don't know, past several years. It's Atheists and Christians. We discuss a different book once a month. One month it's a Christian book, next month it's a secular or atheist book. The first few times I went, it was kind of intimidating because there's some really smart people there, super smart individuals, and a lot of their issues, social or theological, are diametrically opposed to everything that I know to be true. Everything from contraception and homosexuality to morality and even perception of reality itself. But eventually I became accustomed to keeping an open mind, having the intellectual honesty to examine their viewpoints with as little bias as possible. No one can be 100% unbiased, as little bias as possible, and that leads me to my next point. You got to be willing to change your mind. You statistically cannot be correct about everything. I've changed my position on at least 4 pretty substantial issues in just the last 12 months. Anyway, sorry for the rant, Cyrus. I just got this feeling that you're chomping at the bit to say something, to chime in at this point.
Actually no. It seems like you've got it in the right on a lot of this. I mean, I'm still newer when it comes to the atheist and skeptic community. I've only been doing content for a little over a year, so I'm not as well versed in all the history as you are. I have more of a peripheral knowledge of events, but your take does make sense.
Damn, I don't really think I nailed that shit, but okay. I know I'm on the right track, maybe. I don't really have anything else to add except what I've already laid out, but I would like to close by listing maybe some ways that we can repair our community and once and for all turn our attention back to criticizing religion and the harm caused by religion, which is what we should be doing in the first place, and maybe be united as a community.
Oh, well, by all means.
All right, first, reach out and extend an olive branch to the opposing side. That would be a novel idea, wouldn't it? Second, no name calling. Quit calling names. It's really more difficult than you think. I have been guilty of it, and I try to catch myself when I do it. Cyrus, man, I know, I've seen your Twitter. You could work on it too, brother. We all could. Name calling is not productive. Consider a small business owner who refuses to bake a cake for a gay wedding. And he is wanting to... Let's not assume that he's just a hateful fuck, right? See, I just called a name. But let's just assume that he's only doing it because he wants to conform to his religious principles as closely as possible. All right? That's all we should assume at any point. Why would we want to call him a homophobe to his face? Is that productive? Is that getting anything done? The couple that comes in and wants the cake, if you're on the other side of the issue, would you call them fascists just because they're trying to force this small business owner to bake a cake for them when they, I guess, could go down the street and maybe find someone else? Now, yeah, it's okay to take a side on that issue. I've definitely got a side on the issue, but there's no reason to lob insults and name calling at the other side. Let's meet somewhere and talk about it. And that's the only way we're going to get any progress. We got to find common ground. There's going to be polarized contention. Common ground doesn't have to be necessarily major compromises, though. You can tell them what your position is. Listen, one-sided conversations aren't productive either. You've got to give the other side a chance to respond to your criticism. Let them repeat it back to you. Give them a chance to talk. You got to get out of your echo chamber, like we were talking about earlier. You got to explore what the other side has to say. Now, how are you going to do that if you've unfriended everyone that thinks differently than you on your social media? It's impossible. Disengaging is preferable to blocking them. Just tune out, take a break. There's nothing wrong with taking a break. Get off social media for a little while. Or, you know what? There's a feature on some of the social media platforms where you can just snooze them for a month. Just snooze them. Worst case, maybe unfollow them. I wouldn't even recommend that. Unfollow them means you're still friends. You know, there's a young earth creationists, flat earthers, people that think abortion is murder, or, you know, just people just diametrically opposed to my way of thinking that I'll still go out and have a beer with. It's just one facet of who we are. You got to be aware of your tone in speaking and in writing. If you feel yourself getting, well, I'm just naturally amped up, but people know when if I feel myself getting actually hostile, I'll just disengage. Hey, I got to cool down a little bit. I'm not thinking with my brain right now. I'm thinking with my heart. Let's come back and where we can start thinking with our brains again. All right, steel manning. Steel manning is when you can take the other side of the position and explain it to them, the other side of the debate, and explain it well enough to where they will say to you, yeah, that's exactly what I'm talking about. In fact, you explained it better than I could have. That's steel manning. So in the course of a discussion with somebody who you disagree with, steel man them. Say, okay, so let me get this, let me see if I got your position straight. Lay it out there. If you say it to their expectations, then you know you're on the right track. And it gets us on the same footing. A lot of times we're just talking past each other. All right, so next is make a list of all your currently held opinions on all issues. Social issues, cultural, political. Make a list of all the opinions you have on an issue that you could be wrong about. Write down everything that you could be wrong about. This list should be as long as possible. Anything. Physically write down that list. You don't have to share it with anybody. Just have your list. If there's nothing on that list, I'm not pointing fingers, but it's fucking you probably. You need to be willing to change on some issues. Like I said, statistically, you can't be right about everything. It's impossible. You're going to be wrong about something. And remember, a substantial percentage of the reason why they are hostile towards you is because maybe you're hostile towards them. We're doing this. You take the high road. Often, they'll meet you up there. You got to be the ambassador for your side. You got to be the ambassador for atheists. They don't want to see the oh, there goes the stereotypical angry, grumpy atheist. Be an ambassador. Relax. Talk. Set the example. You might be the only atheist they've ever met or will ever meet. I don't know. If that's the case, you want to be a good example. I don't know. So to wrap all this up with a nice bow, I just want to see the atheist community united like it was back in the day. It was so nice back then. I want to see it get back to that. You know, aside from all, our shared lack of belief in deities, we don't have to agree on anything. We don't have to agree on shit else. And you know what? And that's okay.
My thing is, I don't think we need to be united the same way that a church does. I mean, just being part of a loosely connected community seems to be fine. What I do think is important is that we don't need to be at each other's throats. Unfortunately, that seems to be the way history has shown things to be. And I mean, a lot of this has happened in the YouTube space, and drama seems to be a really popular thing around here. But that all said, thanks for infiltrating my channel and throwing some truth nuggets at us. You have any plugs for upcoming events?
Well, let's see. Coming up on February 20th, I've been invited to deliver a lecture at a local Freedom from Religion Foundation chapter. And I'm planning on, what else? Cincinnati this April. I'm going to be at the American Atheist Convention in Cincinnati. I'll just be walking around trying to get some footage, filming segments for the Atheist Edge. And if you see me, stop by, say hello. Hopefully I'll have some maybe keychains or cool little pins like Godless Engineer did last year. Some little swag to pass out. And say hello. And I'll be filming episodes. If you want to be on the show, maybe we do this fucked up religion trivia thing. You can answer a couple questions on camera even. I'm going to even see if I can drag my co-host Courtney and TJ with me. Anyway, man, thanks for having me over here on your channel, Cirrus, and letting me get this shit off my chest. I hope it gets better sooner rather than later. Anyway, thanks for having me over here on your channel and letting me get this shit off my chest, Cirrus. I'll talk to you later.
Anytime, man. And if you guys haven't already, please go and subscribe to Jim's channel. It's called Atheist Edge, and I've appeared there from time to time in discussions and collaborations. We even did one on deconstructing the Cold Case Christianity book, and that will be linked below. Basically, if you're not aware of his channel already, it is a channel where they try to bring people together in order to have these kind of conversations and start building bridges. You can have atheists and theists united against extremists. But I think that's all the time we have for today. Please go ahead and check out Jim's channel below, and also, please remember to check out Gaelic Knox. Her artwork is featured in both the intro and in the avatar of this channel, so it is safe to say that without her as an artist, you guys wouldn't really be getting any updates in quality of the channel this year. Like I said, there is going to be one more artist contributing to this little project, but I'll announce that one a little later. Keep you guys on your toes. Till then, please check out the links that I've mentioned in the description below, and I hope you guys have enjoyed the video. Please remember to like, subscribe, and do all that fun stuff, and I will see you guys in the next one. Insert end of video tagline here.